All right, so I've been using Hinge, the dating app, for on and off the last 2 months now, and my experience has not gone the way that I had originally expected it would. Now, this probably comes from, seeing a few of my friends actually meet quality women on Hinge and hearing other people in church met off of Hinge and had good experiences. And even my brother, who's about to get married in like less than 2 weeks, originally met his fiance on Hinge. It's a very long story that I will tell in a future video, but yeah, so they originally met on Hinge, and I'm like, man, there are good women on Hinge. Maybe if I give it a shot, then I'll be able to find one as well. And so I've been using it, and originally my main intent was to try and weed out as many women as possible by being very upfront about my values and my belief in Jesus. And on every single profile that I would swipe on, the main two things that I would be looking for before looking at anything else is Jesus somewhere in their profile? Do they talk about their faith in Christ? Do they have Christian in their bio? Do they talk about Jesus or evangelism or something like that? I was always looking for that first. I didn't care how attractive the girl was. If she didn't have Jesus in the profile anywhere, automatic, swipe left. Even if she was beautiful, you're out. If a girl said that she was Christian, but then I saw like a bunch of pictures of her with alcohol or her at bars or whatever, I'd be like, no, thank you. And if in my head, at least, it seemed like a pretty decent strategy to weed out people who are not serious about their faith. I matched with a few girls and started different conversations. I would always, shift the conversation into something about Jesus. And I had this, what I would call like the Hinge play that I was running with, where the main strategy was quickly get into, their relationship with God. I would ask some question like, were you raised Christian, or how did you come to know the Lord? And they would normally tell me about their faith or, their background or how they found Jesus. Normally, the more that they would give me, the better, the more serious about their faith that I could tell that they were. And then they would normally ask me, like, what's your relationship with God look like? Or were you always Christian? Kind of just put the question back on me. And so I would normally take that as a golden opportunity to get off of the dating app. Get them on a phone call as quickly as possible so that I could get to know them. I did that with probably 4 or 5 different girls over the last month or so. Most of the time I would get on the phone with these women and they would start telling me about their faith, but I could just tell by asking a few questions that they weren't very serious about their relationship with Jesus. It was kind of just like, yeah, I'm Christian, I go on Sunday, but then they wanted to talk about something else, like their job, or they wanted to talk about hobbies or things that, were fun, or going out or something like that. And I'd be like, not really for me. And honestly, it was kind of disheartening to see that there's so many people out there that, claim the name of Jesus, but genuinely, in my opinion, are not born again. Like, they just don't have the fire, the passion for Christ. It's kind of alarming, honestly. I'm like, man, there's so many people out there that, say that they love Jesus and they say that Jesus is Lord over their life. But at least in just my brief interactions with a lot of these girls, I could tell that that was not genuinely the case. It was kind of just like, I'm Christian, let's talk about something else. Which is a big turn off for me, especially with what I do. It's like my whole life, my identity is Jesus. And it was funny, like some of the girls would see the YouTube videos, they see the content, and they'd be like, oh, you're pretty serious about your faith, I can tell. Which is actually good, because in all honesty, like, I naturally will weed out a lot of people, because if they see my videos and I try and keep these videos as authentic as I possibly can, I just lay everything out there, and you don't like it, then you would have never liked dating me to begin with. And a lot of people will sadly hide who they truly are until months into the relationship. Like, they put up a facade and they pretend to be a certain way in hopes that they can get you attracted to them, and then slowly kind of like the layers of the onion start to peel back, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, this is not who I thought I was dating. And then you're like, I never wanted to date this person to begin with, and you just end up wasting a bunch of time. So if somebody sees my videos and they're like, that guy's a D-bag, or I don't know what they would say about me, this guy's got too many opinions, or maybe he has some coarse jokes and stuff like that, I'm just not into that, then that's fine. We would have never worked out to begin with. But I will say they weren't all that bad. I did have quite a few conversations where it's just like, hey, yeah, this was great. Nice to meet you. And then just hung up because I didn't see, real potential there. I'm not going to ask somebody out on a date if I don't see any potential. That's a waste of time. But there was one girl that I did actually transition from just a phone call to going on some dates because I could tell that she was relatively serious about her faith. And she was a very sweet, nice girl. I will be honest, there were some things where it was like, oh, I don't really know about this. I don't know if this is, from the Lord. And what's cool and what God has blessed me with that I would hope a lot of you watching my channel also have is godly mentors. And the reason that I say that is because it is extremely beneficial for you to have somebody that you run very important decisions by, especially with like who you're going on dates with or who you're potentially going to get married to. It really helps to have somebody who is wise, who's been walking with Jesus for multiple decades to be able to run your decisions by. Like, hey, this is what this girl told me about herself, or this is her relationship with her family, or this is, some of the baggage that she's coming into the relationship with. Like, what do you think? And having somebody who, especially one of my mentors, had been divorced in the past, to have someone like that in my corner to give me their perspective, their old geezer, intelligent, full of wisdom perspective is really advantageous and has saved me a lot of time. Honestly, like I've ran a lot of the last few girls that I've gone on dates with or girls that I've been interested with by some of my mentors, and they just always have such great wisdom. And they've unfortunately dissuaded me from pursuing a lot of these women for valid reasons, for good reasons. And one thing I've realized about men, and I'll get into this later in this video, but we have this problem that I believe is hardwired into us as men, and that is the fact that we will be faced with evidence that a situation or a woman is not good for us at all. And there's a ton of red flags and a ton of problems. All the writing is on the wall. And because we want to make a relationship work, we want to make a situation work, we will rationalize. We will make up excuses. All that stuff on the wall over there is really, really bad. And if I was giving advice to one of my buddies and he was in my shoes, I would tell him 100% do not date this girl. But I think I can make it work. I think my situation's different and it's really not that bad, guys. We will just make up excuses to stay in a bad situation that we know deep down is not good for us. And I know every single person watching this video has done the exact same thing, and I can say that confidently because I have, and every single one of my roommates has done the same thing. And it's a problem. That's why you need godly mentors in your life that are outside of the situation and can look objectively with zero emotional tie-ins and give you clarity and hard answers, oftentimes answers that you don't want to hear, but they will give you wisdom, and if they're the right mentor, they're unapologetic and they tell you the truth. Which is what you need to hear, so you avoid making horrible decisions in your life. But yeah, so started going out with that girl. There was definitely some things that just didn't sit right in my own spirit. And we went on like 3 dates, and she was very sweet, but maybe some of you will relate to this. Sometimes you're going on dates with a girl and you could just tell like something's a little bit off and it just doesn't sit right with your spirit. You do not feel peace. You do not feel like this is the one for me. And sometimes that's enough, honestly. Sometimes just feeling a deep sense of like, I'm not particularly drawn to this person and I don't feel like this person is from God. And I know I'm not like a super emotionally based person. I am not by any means. But you look at the logic, you look at the facts, you look at what you got on the table or the cards that you're dealt with, and you're like, I think that there's probably someone else out there who's better suited for me. And I just decided once again, after not wasting time, certainly not wasting time over the last 2 months, but gaining more discernment and having more experiences, I decided, hey, I know there are good girls on Hinge somewhere. I just did not saying the girls that I went out with were bad girls. They just weren't for me. Like in all reality, if my goal is I want to meet my future wife and I went on 4 or 5 dates over the last month and a half and nothing really came of any of it, I would call that like a net zero, like waste of time. I've just realized this, and I've made videos about this in the past. I think that this is one area of my life where I've prayed for a very, very long time. Like, Lord, if it's your will, bless me with a godly woman. I would love a helper, someone that can, I can share my life with and can help me in growing closer to you, but also help me in pushing this mission forward with the YouTube channel and the content and all this stuff. And it has not been answered. It's very interesting. Like, I know God is in control and he's working out all things for my good and for the good of those who love him. But sometimes it's just frustrating. But at the end of the day, I've come to terms that this is one area in my life that I have to fully surrender to God, and I cannot force anything. I cannot white knuckle my way into a godly relationship. I can show up, I can put myself out there, I can get on phone calls, I can go on dates. But at the end of the day, if this is not the right person for me, and my spirit is saying, this ain't it, son, there's nothing I can do to force it. Like, I'm not going to stay in a bad situation. I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to force anything. Ultimately, it shows faith in Jesus or faith in God more than anything. If I'd be willing to walk away from a girl with zero options, a lot of people, like, they will leave a relationship only when they have a better option that they can see. And they'll just kind of like monkey branch into another relationship with somebody else. I don't got that. And most of the guys in my house who have been in relationships and broken up with girls or whatever also have not had that, because we're men. It's like, bro, we don't have a million options most of the time. It's like you can only pursue one woman at a time. You give all your energy. Sometimes it goes 5, 6 months, a year, and then you break up with them. You got nothing. It's not like you're texting girls on the side. So you go back to ground zero, which can definitely be frustrating. But at the end of the day, I believe if I was meant to meet my future wife on Hinge, maybe it wouldn't have happened in the last 2 months, but it probably would have been a lot smoother of a process. And so at least for the time being, I have decided to give up on trying to force stuff with dating apps and wasting time in general. Now, if you're enjoying this video so far and you want to join our brotherhood of men that are focused on becoming masculine and godly again, go ahead, scroll down and click on that subscribe button right now. Now, I firmly believe, especially after watching a recent Craig Rochelle sermon that I've talked about in prior videos, that God reveals his perfect will to our lives or for our lives in 3 different ways. The first way is through an open door. The second way is through a closed door. And the third way is through a frustrated plan. And I can say confidently for the whole year, like all of 2025, that dating for me has been one big closed door. Just trial after trial of, I'm going to go on the date with this girl, or I'm going to seriously date this girl, or I'm going to go on a phone call, or all this stuff I've been doing over the last year. And it's just been like one opportunity where I tried to walk through a door closed or got into it, frustrated plan. And I've learned a lot. 100%. I think, and I've covered this in other videos, like I came into some of these relationships very prideful, very focused on Braden, and coming into it with just the wrong heart posture. And God has humbled me a lot. I've learned a lot, which has been great. I think that it's prepared me for the right relationship with the right woman, coming into it with a much better heart posture, much more servant-hearted, much less focused on what Braden can get out of it, like an arrogant D-bag. But at the same time, it's just been a lot of closed doors, which is fine, but I'm just being honest. It has not been easy. And I'm honestly at this point, like, not totally sure why it's been such a closed door. Because in all honesty, like, I feel like I am ready. Like, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not 100% ready, but at the same time, you're never going to be 100% ready to do anything in your life. You should see that just by looking back at some of my YouTube videos from the very beginning of this channel. Like, they were trash. They were awful. If I waited until I was 100% ready to start the channel, I would have never started. Because the only way to get ready is by doing the thing, is by taking imperfect action to eventually become better and improve yourself so that you are ready. And it's the same thing with dating. Like, you're going to come into dating probably with some selfish ambitions, probably not 100% right in the heart department in terms of your heart posture. Sometimes you're going to come into it like, oh man, I think this girl's really beautiful, and you're looking at her, focusing on the wrong qualities of her, not the most important things, right? Proverbs 31:30, charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Yeah, I think nobody's 100% ready, but for the most part, I do feel that I know a lot, relatively for my age, about leading as a man, leading spiritually, being rooted in the Word, setting the right boundaries, handling conflict, all the important things of dating a woman the right way and honoring the Lord in a relationship. I feel I have a decent grasp on. Probably more so than the average guy. I mean, honestly, But I'm still single. And I know, at the end of the day, like having a relationship is not the most important thing. Like God is not sitting up there, with his priorities on his whiteboard or his little to-do list of get Braden a wife. Like that is not at the top of his priority list. He's got way more important things to worry about. But in Braden's world, like it is something that I think about quite a lot. And I'm just being honest. Like a lot of guys, I don't know why they act like that's not something that they think about or something they care about. Like they think that it makes you weak or effeminate or like gay if you say that you want a girlfriend or you desire to have a helper or to have a wife. I'm like, bro, why is that weird? God literally said it's not good for man to be alone. And Adam looked at all the animals in the garden. He's like, none of these things are going to cut it. Like I need a woman. So I think that that's naturally ingrained in us. It's a desire. It's natural. Unless you're on the Paul arc. And I don't know if anybody watching this video has been single and celibate their entire life and has no plans of getting married. Like, do they not have that desire? I have no idea. I would assume that they don't have it as strongly as maybe you or I do, but who knows? I hope I don't have that calling. That would be pretty weird for what I make videos on. But at the end of the day, I think that God has used this past season of my life to grow me in discernment and to sharpen me and also to humble me. But also, most importantly, to show me like what I'm really looking for. I think coming into this year, I thought that all I needed in terms of a future mate was that she was Christian. Like that was it. She's Christian, I'm attracted to her. Those are good enough. Just like degenerate Braden used to think all she's got to be is hot, and that's good enough. Wrong. I have learned that there are levels to this, 100%. And whenever Paul talks about being equally yoked, I would take that a step further. It's like you got to be like equally or as equally yoked as you possibly can be in your faith. It's not enough for you to both just be Christian on the surface. Like you have to have the same convictions relatively. You have to have the same theological beliefs relatively. You can't be Catholic and then one is Protestant. You can't be one is lukewarm and then one is like on fire for Jesus. It just doesn't work. It's a constant uphill battle. You're like constantly just trying to drag this person into taking their faith seriously when they don't care. It's just a waste of time. They have to want it themselves. Just like you can't force anybody to put their faith in Jesus, they have to have the Holy Spirit work on their heart and naturally draw them to God. You're not going to do anything to like force them into taking their faith seriously, which is a hard lesson that I've learned. It wasn't until this past week that I heard some of the best dating advice that I have heard. And of course, it was from one of my geezer mentors. And he said, you know that you're in the wrong relationship whenever you feel the need to have to constantly justify and or defend the woman that you are dating to your friends, your mentors, or people at your church. If you constantly feel like you're making up excuses for why a bad situation is actually not that bad of a situation, you're in a bad situation and you're coping and you're rationalizing and you're in the wrong relationship in all reality. And he went on to say that you know you're in the right relationship when you're dating a girl and all of your friends and your mentors and the people that you care about the most in your life are looking at you and saying, dude, why is this girl dating you? Like, what's wrong with her? She's amazing. It's like, dude, that's the relationship that you should desire to be in. Like the right woman, she's not going to be perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect, but she's not going to come with a tremendous amount of baggage and problems and red flags. I just do not believe that that's from the Lord, because all the red flags and all the problems and all the baggage and all the trauma causes confusion and anxiety in you. And the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 14:33 that God is not a God of confusion. He's a God of peace. And so the woman that is sent by the Lord is not going to bring you chaos. She's going to bring you peace into your life. And we need to understand that. You need to internalize that. Stop coping, stop rationalizing, and you know dang well if you're in the wrong relationship, if you're being honest with yourself. You're just making up excuses. And I know it can be frustrating, but if you're stuck in the same cycle that I've been in for the last year, going on date after date and not really finding the right person, you either need to change the pond that you're fishing in, or you need to take a step back and just simply trust in God's plan and surrender this area of your life to the Lord fully and say, God, I'm not going to be on the dating apps. I'm not going to be trying to like super hard force anything. I'm just going to put it in your hands. And that's all I'm going to do. If you want me to get married, please, you make it happen. If you want me to meet somebody at church, help us to get connected. But just from my own personal experience, trying to force stuff and go and cold approach every single girl, or following girls on Instagram and trying to shoot your shot, or, using the dating apps and trying to force everything, it just, for the most part, it doesn't work. Because a lot of those things just, especially if you're in the same position as me and you have tried and they haven't worked, it's just like God has closed the door on you and you're trying to shove it open. It's just not working. So let it go. And realize that at the end of the day, if it is in God's will for you to get married, He is the one who's going to make it happen. He's going to be the one who aligns you and your future wife's steps together. And I think the best analogy is that triangle analogy that I've given in past videos. It's God at the top, and then you and your future spouse are at opposite sides of the bottom of the triangle. Okay? And so the more that you run towards the top, being God, on your own separate path, and you're running towards the Lord, you're going to find a woman who's doing the exact same thing, and you two will meet at the top. Right? You're both seeking after God. You're both following after Matthew 6:33, putting the Lord number one, seeking Him first, and you just allowed that woman to be added into your life whenever you were ready and whenever she was ready. And it just works that way, bro. Especially for me, it's like there's so many different things that I'm looking for that I feel a lot of guys need in a woman, like a good future spouse, and it's rare. And the fact that it is rare tells me that the only way that I'm going to meet her is God's going to have to bring her in my life. It's really that simple. And until then, you just focus on your mission. You focus on what God's calling you to do, making disciples, helping men to become better men in your church, in your community, in your friend group, pointing them all towards Jesus and doing what the Lord's called you to do. And that's all you need to focus on. And trust me, when you do that the right way, God will take care of the rest. You're going to be fine. If you want to learn more about how to improve your dating life as a Christian man, make sure to click on this video. I love you, bro. I hope that God blesses you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.